G'day ladies and gentlemen, ScottyD here from the Australia's Tabletop Wargaming Network, and welcome in to another installment in our South Pacific ITC Snapshots, where we look at the South Pacific region for the ITC rankings, look at the top ranked players, top ranked teams, and the top player of every faction, looking at events that have occurred over the past month or so, as well as looking forward as to what events you can attend in the next few months to gain your ITC points. And this is the April snapshot, where we are going to be looking at things after the first few months of the competitive scene. But before we jump in and looking at the rankings and stuff, I want to thank everyone who has been watching our content here on YouTube. Really do appreciate your viewership, and note that the time that you spend watching our videos is always greatly appreciated. Any comments, any likes, any subscriptions on the channel as well, really appreciate that going forward, and really appreciate you guys enjoying our content as well. So, without further ado, let's jump into how the rankings are actually looking going into the start of May. And so, in first place for the top 10 players, we've got Chris O'Neill once again. He's back up there on 683.17 points with 5 out of 6 events played. You've then got Nate Mail from South Australia coming in second at 596 points with 5 out of 6 events. Both these gentlemen, the only two players in the country, or the region, I should say, that have got 5 out of 6 events played. So some really solid scores, but other tournament winners that are going to be winning multiple events are going to be jumping them pretty quickly over time when they get multiple wins back to back, just with how the ITC rankings work. So we are still very early in the season. In third place, we got Josh Hines coming in at 584 points with 4 out of 6 events. Fourth place, we've got Kyle Murray sitting on 560 points with 4 out of 6 events played. Fifth place is Jordan McGregor in New South Wales, sitting on 545 points with 4 out of 6 events played. Sixth place, we've got Lachlan Campbell coming in with 523 points with 4 out of 6 events. Seventh place, we've got Ben Tinker of New South Wales coming in with 507 points with 4 out of 6 events played as well. Eighth place, we've got Greg McGinnity coming in with 466 points with 3 out of 6 events played. Ninth place, we've got Ben Wan from South Australia coming in with 466.29 points, just below Greg with 4 out of 6 events played. And then in 10th place, we've got Igor Callanan in New South Wales with 465 points with 3 out of 6 events played. So really encouraging to see that amount of density in terms of points. And as we have more events in the season happen, more rankings are going to be submitted. Now, I do understand that there is a bit more lag when it comes to updating the ITC rankings now with Games Workshop, so these might not be as accurate. They might not include as many scores as players might have already achieved. So that's something to bear in mind going forward with the series, with a few other things with that transition over to Games Workshop now controlling the ITC, and just something to factor in going forward. So if you're maybe got an event win and it hasn't been factored into the rankings, it's probably because the event hasn't been updated in BCP to be added to the rankings. So that's something to bear in mind going forward. Next up, we have got the top 5 teams in the country. Well, in the region, I should say. I should get out of the habit of saying country. So first place, once again, it is the Down Under 40K Factory team coming in with 1,604 points, 10 out of 10 events for them. Second place is Chadmec coming in with 1,571. They've closed that gap a bit by, only 25 points in it, or approximately that. Actually, more like 35 points in it, somewhere around there. So neck and neck between these two New South Wales teams. In third place, you got Lost in the Mail at 1,545 points, being in South Australia. Then you've got Ethos in fourth place, which spans kind of a couple of different areas in the country, primarily being Queensland, however, with 1,537 points. And then Power Stances down in South Australia with 1,455 points. All teams have got 10 out of 10 events played. So it's great to see the teams getting out in force, playing events regularly, being able to get those scores under their belts and be able to work together as a team to try and take that top spot for the top team in this season's rankings. Then we come to the faction rankings. Now, some of these have changed, some of them have not. It just depends on, as I said, events being updated. So for Adeptus Sororitas, we've got Jordan McGregor coming in first place with 4 out of 4 events, sitting on 454 points. For Adeptus Astartes, it's Arian Fanian coming in with 246 points with 2 out of 4 events played for Adeptus Astartes, but I'm sure there's going to be more players on Adeptus Astartes that are going to have more scores updated as well. Then we've got, for Adeptus Custodes, Adam Wozniacki on 359 points. For Adeptus Mechanicus, Nick Jackson coming in at 147 points with only 2 out of 4 events played. So we'll see how AdMech go this year. They're not in the strongest of spots, with really only the ScottyD Hunter cohort being the solid detachment to be taken. So not sure how they'll shape up this competitive season. In Eldari, you've got Lachlan Campbell on 447 points with 3 out of 4 events. Astra Militarum, you've got Brad MC on 271 points with 2 out of 4 events played. A great score for only 2 events. Almost 300 points, which is awesome. Asiani is Cal McKinney on 121 points with only a single event there. Blood Angels is Daniel Gash Jones on 444 points with 4 out of 4 events played. Chaos Demons is Luke Greco sitting on 168 points with only 2 events played. Chaos Knights is Josh Pope on 418 points with 2 out of 4 events played. Chaos Space Marines, Patrick Burns coming in at 208 points with only 2 out of 4 events played. Dark Angels is Chris Gardner on 319 points with 4 out of 4 events played. Death Guard is Peter Hatcliffe on 306 points with 3 out of 4 events played. Death Watch, a faction that I love in the game. Daniel Doom coming in at first place with 108 points and 2 out of 4 events played. For Drukhari, we've got the Terminator, Chris Wright, coming in with 314 points and 2 out of 4 events played. Another great score there. Force of the Hive Mind, no one has been playing Force of the Hive Mind at the moment. Gene Stealer Cult, it is still Taylor Hill. He's sitting on 392 points with 3 out of 4 events played. Grey Knights is Daniel Sherry on 415 points with 3 out of 4 events played. Harlequins, no one's playing dedicated Harlequins at the moment. In terms of Imperial Knights, we've got Kyle Murray sitting on 295 points with 2 out of 4 events played. Leagues of Votan is Liam Stevens sitting on 253 points with 2 out of 4 events played. Necrons is Igor Kalanin sitting on 465 points with 3 out of 4 events played. Orcs is Peter O'Neill coming in at 372 points with 3 out of 4 events played. For Space Wolves, we have got Jaden Whitehair sitting on 266 points with 3 out of 4 events. Then Tau Empire is Liam Flanagan sitting on 339 points, 4 out of 4 events played for Liam. Awesome hustling, get to a lot of early events there. Thousand Suns is Michael House sitting on 336 points with 2 out of 4 events played. Tyranids, Mr. Josh Hines coming in at 584 points with 4 out of 4 events played. World Eaters is Alex Smith coming in at 119 points with only 1 event played. And Yunari is Matthew O'Connor with only 38.5 points with 1 out of 4 events played as well. So really does round out that top faction rankings. Well done to everyone who has gotten a top faction ranking in this snapshot. Awesome achievement to be recognized throughout the season as well. I know we recognize them towards the back end of the season, but I like to recognize them throughout the season because a lot of people do put in a lot of hard work, honing their skill, honing their craft with their factions. And so being able to come first in a tournament and, you know, coming first in a faction consistently as well is something that should be celebrated throughout the season as well, not just the end of the year. So looking at the tournaments that have occurred during April. Now, what we do with these is if you haven't seen what we do before, we look at the top 3 players, the factions they were playing and such, as well as the tournament. So first up, we've got the Hobby Hub War Master Tournament 18. It was in Woolner, Northern Territory. 30th of March, it had 14 players in attendance. In first place was Lachlan Campbell with Eldari. He got a 90, a 100, and a 100. Solid win there. Snowy McDonald was second with Imperial Knights for 3 wins as well. And in third place from the Pantheon was Chris O'Neill with Thousand Suns going 2 and 1. So really solid there. I dare say that Chris played Lachlan in the final round. So, great to see a solid amount of events happening up in Northern Territory as well. Next up, we've got Radicalism 2024. Now, this happened in Ballarat East, Victoria on the 6th and 7th of April with 77 players in attendance. In first place was Josh Pope from South Australia with Chaos Knights going 6-0. Then in second place was Matthew Thomas from the Warplings going 5-1. Then Boyd Morrill from the Gentleman Gamers in Victoria going 5-1 as well with Necrons. So seeing Custodes up there and Necrons. Massive shout out to Josh Pope from the Power Stances in South Australia, doing well, getting the 6-0 and winning the tournament there as well. The next tournament is the PMGC Flesh, Faith, and Steel 24 Part 1 tournament. in Port Macquarie, New South Wales. It was on the 6th of April, had 20 players in attendance. Paul Yates was in first with World Eaters going 3-0. Jason Peaty coming in second, going 3-0 with Chaos Knights as well. And then Kyle Hudson from the Only Squigs team coming in third place with Adeptus Sororitas going 2-1. So really great to see some faction diversity up there, and it's great to see the Port Macquarie guys putting on some events as well. Now, I will also mention that I forgot to at the start of these, is that these are my expected ITC tournaments. They're not 100% whether they are going to be there, because Games Workshop hasn't done the calendar for the ITC events as of yet. I'm probably going to follow it up with them and get an ETA as to when they are going to be having that ready to go. Next up, we've got the Ad for Wargaming Anzac Cup for 2024 that happened in Campbell ACT on the 13th and 14th of April. Had 43 players in attendance with a lot of big names from New South Wales. However, it looks like it's a top 3 from Team ACT 40K, with Dale Marr coming in first place with going 5-0 with Eldari, Joe Locke coming in second going 4-1 with Death Guard, and Ewart Surly coming in third place with Black Templars going 4-1 as well. Then we have got the Gladiator Gaming April Teams Tournament in Loganholme, Queensland, 13th and 14th of April, with 28 teams of 5 players. That's 140 players, ladies and gentlemen, in a teams event, which is absolutely phenomenal. In first place was Team Ethos. They went 3 wins and 2 draws. They were captained by Alex Terrison with Adeptus Sororitas. Hayden Waldock was running Deathcore of Krieg. Jacob Warren was running Orcs. Michael Mentes was running Eldari. And then Simon Gorkovich was running Drakari. In second place, you have Virtuous Veritas coming in with going 3 wins and 2 draws as well. Captained by David Truman on Blood Angels. Darren Archer on Tau Empire. You had Dylan Hopkins on Imperial Knights. You had Hamish Campbell on Necrons and Sam Lemon on Deptus Custodes. Sam jumping on the Custodes. Love to see it, mate. Sam, one of the guys that we work with the network here, and does a lot of content for the Down Under 40K guys. Make sure you check them out as well if you want to see some more Australian content. Now, the third team was the Horsemen. They went 3 wins and 2 draws. They were led by the captain, Eric Lathuris, with Tyranids, Brian Lakeland running Drakari, David Kerr running Black Templars, Nick Standing running Grey Knights, and Steve Wade running Leagues of Votan. Then next up, we have got the Team Australia April fundraiser in Coburg North. And it looks as though I forgot to copy across. Oh, no, it's not. It's just done a funny thing on my document. So Coburg North in Victoria on the 13th of April with 15 players in attendance. There's the standings for it, ladies and gentlemen, just shunted down to the next page. So Edward Askew came in first place, going 3-0 with Tau Empire. Mitch McLeish from the Warplings coming in second, going 2-1 with Leagues of Votan. And then in third place, Mr. Adam Camilleri from Art of War going 2-1 as well with Ash Militarum. Great to see Adam jumping on the Ash Militarum and trying to get some events in as well. And Ed as well as from the Risky Rollers, another great bunch of Australian content creators. So definitely check them out too if you feel like seeing some more Australian tournament coverage. Next up, we've got the Down Under 40K Beresford 2,000 point RTT. This happened in Beresford, New South Wales on the 14th of April with 20 players in attendance. So this is up in the Maitland area. So the Down Under guys weren't running some RTTs for a little while. And this was kind of the first one they've had up there for a while, which is awesome to see them jumping back on that horse and getting things going there. Nathan Stern came in first place with from the Hellfire Contingency team, going 3-100s with Adeptus Custodes. You've then got Ben Smith from Hellfire Contingency as well, going 3-0 as well with Thousand Suns. And then Ryan Duchanel from the Hellfire Contingency going 3-0 as well with Blood Angels. So 3 players going 3-0. Awesome to see. Great work, guys. All from the same team as well. So you'll love to see it. Next up, we've got the Auspicious Open Reloaded in Cranbrook, Queensland on the 20th and 21st of April, which had 10 players in attendance. Tyrell Rulston came in first, going 4 wins and a draw with Necrons. Connor White came in second, going 4 wins and a draw as well with Death Guard. And then Corbin Robertson coming in third with 2 losses and 3 wins on Grey Knights, which is really great to see there too. Next up, we had the Pantheon Invades ShyCon GT happen in Sylvania, New South Wales on the weekend just gone on the 20th and 21st of April with 32 players in attendance. Jordan McGregor came in first place going 5-0 with Adeptus Sororitas. In second place with Josh Brody from Team Vanguard going 4 wins and 1 loss with Raven Guard. Also, Jordan is a part of the Down Under 40K Factory team. And then Arian Fanian from Chadmec coming in third place, with Ultramarines going 4-1 as well, taking that round 1 loss, but coming back and coming in third place is great to see from Arian as well. Then you've got the Down Under 40K Sydney RTT for April in Frenchs Forest, New South Wales, 20th of April. So we had like 3 or 4 different Sydney tournaments happening, so a lot of the players were spread out across the place. So there were only 18 players in attendance at the Sydney RTT, when generally there's approximately 30 that they cap out at every kind of month. So interesting to see them down at 18, but it's great to see there was still strong attendance. In first place was Daniel Gash Jones from the Down Under 40K Factory team with Blood Angels. In second place was Greg McGinnity, also Down Under 40K Factory team, going 3-0 with Grey Knights. And then Nicholas Halakassis with 2 wins and a draw with Deptus Custodes as well. So great to see a lot of faction diversity at the top throughout a lot of these events within the country, which is great to see. Then we have the Risky Rollers Squad Games 2024. This happened in Mount Waverley, Victoria on the 21st of April and was 8 teams of 4 players. The team that came first went 2 wins and a draw, and it was led by Dylan Cowan. It was the Gentleman Gamers, I should also mention. He was running Black Templars. He had Ben Karabar with Asher Militarum, Boyd Morrill on Necrons, and Reese Cunningham on Gene Stealer Cults. In second place, you had Val Lawrence's Angels. They also went 2 wins and a draw. They were led by Captain Lawrence Gutierrez, running Adeptus Custodes. Carl Novak was on Eldari, Ed Askey was on Tau Empire, and Jason Horn was on Necron. So 3 out of the 4 Risky Rollers guys were playing, which is awesome to see. And I dare say Dalton was TOing the day. Then you had the Jez Burnt Toast team. I'm not going to say that full name here on YouTube. But they went 1 win and 2 draws. They were led by Dean Sinbeck, running World Eaters. You had Adam Camilleri on Astra Militarum, Jeremy Martino on Thousand Suns, and Matt Morris-Holly on Chaos Knight. So a pretty stacked team there to say as well. You then had the Brisbane Low Rollers, the Aprilist RTT in Annerley, Queensland on the 21st of April with 28 players in attendance. Now, I'm going to probably butcher a few names as well. So we've got Corey Palpanini. Apologies, Corey, if I absolutely butchered that. On Thousand Suns going 3-0, coming in first. Then Matt Falzon from the Brisbane Low Rollers coming in second with Thousand Suns going 3-0. And Josh Woods from ITA coming in third with 3-0 as well with Orcs, which is great to see. Then next up, we've got the Fight for Glory duos in Modbury, South Australia, 21st of April. 33 teams of 2 players were in attendance. Lost in the Priority Mail came in first, going 3 wins, no losses, no draws. Captained by Nate Mail on Necrons, and Serena Mail was running Tau Empire. Then you have the Yabby Hunters with 3 wins and no losses, no draws as well, led by Jack Plant with Space Wolves, and then Mark Curana on Orcs. Then Lost, it's another Lost in the Mail team, but it's Most in the Lail, however you say that. It was really weirdly put in as the team name. Absolutely hilarious from the Lost in the Mail team. They went 3-0, captained by Kyle Murray on Grey Knights and Ben Wan on Eldari. Then we've got the upcoming tournaments. But before we do, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everyone for joining us for this snapshot. I hope you do enjoy the information that we have here, talking about the rankings and the meta, and how things are actually going in the South Pacific region competitively. I actually think from a lot of those events, the meta is actually really stable at the moment. And yes, we are expecting a balanced data slate in the next week or 2. But I think that once we get that, there'll be some tweaks and some shifts. But for the most part, I say a couple of weeks after we get the data slate with the points changes, it'll get figured out and it'll be a really balanced point for the game as well. Whilst yes, Necrons are the current overlords, it's a bit better than Eldari were, to be honest. So I like seeing Custodes up there before their Codex drops. I like seeing Orcs up there before their Codex drops. And a lot of other factions that haven't gotten their Codex as of yet, like Thousand Suns, are doing quite well in the Australian meta, as well as Grey Knights, which is an important one to make a note of because they're not slated for a book for a decent while. But if you do want to support the content we create here at the ATWN, feel free to check out our Ko-Fi page. There's linked down in the description below, where you can support us via a membership of either 5 or 10 Australian dollars per month, or you can give a one-off tip or have a look at any of the merchandise or coaching services we provide as well, ladies and gentlemen. And any support that you do give financially, whether it is via Ko-Fi or even to our Twitch subscribers as well, if you're watching, thank you so much for your financial support. We really do appreciate it, and it allows us to do a lot of the content that we do create going forward as well. All right, so with the plugs out of the way, let's jump into the tournaments that are coming up for the rest of April, May, and the GTs that are happening in June. First up, we've got the Matehammer Warhammer 40k GT happening this weekend up in Maitland, New South Wales at the Good Games in Maitland, 27th and 28th of April with 20 players currently signed up. There are 12 tickets left as well if you are wanting to get involved with that tournament. Next up, we've got the Game Centre Monthly RTT for April, happening in Smeaton Grange, New South Wales, 27th of April. 11 players are already in attendance, with 15 tickets still available if you are wanting to get involved. Next up, we've got the South Australia 40k RTT, happening in Prospect, South Australia on the 27th of April, this Saturday. With 13 players in attendance so far, there are 19 tickets still available. So if you want to get to a South Australian RTT this weekend, make sure that you hit up the South Australia guys, jump in, get involved, get some points. It's always a great time run by Adam, Simon, and Josh. They're a great bunch of guys within the community and love seeing the work that they do out in South Australia, as well as everyone else who does assist with them running events too. Next up, we've got the Gaming Nexus Warhammer 40k RTT happening in Mount Gambier, South Australia on the 28th of April. There's 13 players in attendance with 11 tickets left. So if you want to get involved and you're down in that area, or you can travel to that area for a single day, it's not too much of a day trip, feel free to make sure to hit up Gaming Nexus and get involved with that RTT. Next up, we have got the Gladiator Gaming Teams Tournament. This is happening in Loganholme, Queensland on the 4th and 5th of May with 18 teams of 5 players currently signed up, which is phenomenal. It's going to be a great teams tournament, I'm sure. The Gladiator Gaming guys are constantly running teams events, which is absolutely phenomenal. Love to see it. Then, the same weekend, we've got the ANZ Team Championships for 2024 happening in Coburg North in Victoria, 4th and 5th of May with 10 teams of 8 players. This includes teams from Australia, but also New Zealand as well, which is phenomenal to see. And I love seeing the Kiwis coming across to play some 40k with us Aussies for the team champs. Now, I believe it is also going to be streamed by the Risky Rollers, so if you do want to catch that coverage, make sure to check out the Risky Rollers and go and support them when they are doing the live coverage of that tournament. Then we've got the Down Under 40k Sydney May RTT happening in Frenchs Forest, New South Wales on the 18th of May with 30 tickets available. I don't believe there's any sign-ups for that as of yet. So if you are wanting to go and play in that tournament later on in May, make sure you hit up the Down Under 40k guys, get involved. Ben Brown, that runs the Frenchs Forest RTT, does a phenomenal job. He's a really solid TO, and so it's great to see those events really pop off the work that not just him, but the rest of the Down Under 40k guys put in the New South Wales scene as well. Next up, we've got the Auspicious 2K Competitive happening in Unabah, Queensland on the 25th of May. There are 10 tickets available, so if you are keen to get involved with that one, make sure that you check out the BCP event, hit up Sinner, and get involved if you are keen to do so. Then on the 25th and 26th of May, we've got Capital Clash, Get 'em Boys, happening in Canberra, ACT. There are currently 20 players signed up with 32 tickets left to jump in to participating in this tournament, and it is a tournament we will be streaming here on the ATWN. So if you are keen to see some live action Warhammer 40k late May, we will be covering it here on the network, which is going to be phenomenal, as well as also, getting another tournament in the ACT that's going to have a lot of players in attendance as well. So if you're in New South Wales, Canberra's only a 2.5 hour drive, 3 hour drive from Sydney. Jump on it. Andrew runs a phenomenal tournament. He's a great guy as well. He also has a hand involved with Exterminatus and a lot of the Exterminatus events that they run, which run twice a year. And so, really awesome guy. So make sure if you're able to book that in, head down there and play in a great 40k tournament that is really, really well run. And then going into the rest of May, we have got the Tabletop Con 2024 happening in Southport, Queensland. So on the 25th and 26th of May, there are 12 players currently signed up with 18 tickets available. And jump in, play that tournament and get involved. Make sure to check out the BCP event and any other events that might be kicking around on Facebook as well for that. Then we've got the Game Centre Narellan Monthly May RTT happening in Smeaton Grange, New South Wales on the 25th of May with 26 tickets available for that one. So if you're not wanting to travel down to Canberra for a GT, that's fine. Feel free to go and head over to the Game Center Narellan's monthly RTTs to get some points as well. Then down in Hobart, we have got the Thylacine Cup GT, the 1st and 2nd of June. 40 players are already signed up down in Hobart, Tasmania for this one, with 30 tickets left. If you want to get involved, make sure that you sign up quick. I know that if you're in Victoria, it's not too far, not too much of a hassle to get across to Tassie. So, Tassie guys, from what I can see, are a really great bunch of guys and put on some phenomenal events, which is awesome to see as well. And then we have got TerraCon 2024 in Naracoorte, South Australia on the 8th and 9th of June, the King's Birthday long weekend. They've already got 82 players signed up so they've only got 18 tickets left available. So if you are wanting to play at TerraCon, make sure you get your tickets ASAP. Jump in the TerraCon 40K Facebook group, contact Tom or Ash or Ben, get your tickets and get involved. It is a phenomenal tournament. Unfortunately, I can't be down there again this year to cover it. Again, personal circumstances, but I'm hoping next year I'll be able to be back to cover that event for those guys as well. And then the last event we've got is the auspicious Northern Showdown happening in Cranbrook, Queensland on the 29th and 30th of June with a 32-player capacity. So again, hit up Sinner. If you're in our Discord, Sinner's a part of our Discord as well if you feel like DMing through Discord, or check out the Facebook event or the BCP event as well to get signed up there for that one as well. But ladies and gentlemen, that is actually going to finish us off for our ITC South Pacific Snapshot for April. I want to thank all the players that have been participating in the tournament scene as of late, and for everyone who has been watching these snapshots, really appreciate it. Now, if you do want to catch more of our content here at the ATWN, feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, and if you want to provide us any feedback, feel free to leave it down in a comment, or you want to celebrate one of the players' wins or a team win down below, feel free to do so. Or in general, just hit the video with a like, share it with your friends, make sure that we are getting as many eyes on this update as we can, because we do it every month for the benefit of the community, so you guys know where the rankings are at as best as possible. And if you do want to catch any tournament coverage that we do or any of the other content we create live, feel free to head over to Twitch, where we do our live streams for both 40K tournament coverage, tournament previews, as well as hobbying sessions and such as well. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I've been ScottyD, and I hope to catch you in the next ITC South Pacific Snapshot in May.